it's exactly what you'd figure would be. It's more, I think it's more symbolic than anything else, truly.
Okay, looking at the Panama Canal just overall, it's 73 miles from my waypoint, which is 5 miles to the north of Cristobal, to another point 7 miles to the south of Balboa.
So most of it is just self-created anxieties and self-sort of symbolism of saying, oh my God, this is one of the major canals, if not the major canal of the world, with maybe the Suez. But in the end, it's not really that, you overplan it. Paperwork's done, and then when it's over, you're just tired because you've been up all the time getting through there, and then that's it.
How we doing, pilot? 4 cables to the anchorage position, sir.
Thank you. You'd be in trouble, pilot, if you anchor downwind of an old smelly fishing vessel. Oh, let go! Short stay forward. Canadian ship going through has to procure an agent. He does our arrangements for us to make everything paperwork-wise okay for the canal. We'll come on, sign over, approve, what our weight is, etc. through our documentation. And then we have to wait for our turn again to actually get into the locks. So a pilot will be assigned to us to take us into the locks.
Good. Looks like you counted that once or twice before. No stranger to money.
The entrance into the canal, that was fairly interesting. You always have your preconceived ideas of what to expect. You examine the charts and read the books, and you look at exactly what you're getting the ship into. And it's always comforting when you receive a pilot on board who seems to be knowledgeable, one that talks and understands what a Navy ship is about. We did have quite a character as a pilot. We had more salty dips passed during the 12-hour transit than I think I've ever seen before.
If you look at the topography and the geography of Panama and the way it connects with Central and South America and the way it's laid out on a map, the sun actually rises in the Pacific Ocean in Panama first in the morning and sets in the extreme western part of Panama in the Atlantic. So it rises in the Pacific and sets in the Atlantic. It's quite a bar bet when you
So proud when I got command of this. These are the largest ships we have in our Navy, and it feels so big and it's powerful. Until you pull beside one of these and you realize how small you really are. Huh?
I've made 1,491 transits. This is 1,493.
Well, you'll be pleased to know that you're right now riding the ship with probably the most sophisticated propulsion plant in the world. I mean, it really is. It's the American Navy's looking at adopting it, and it's a totally automated system. So it's works a treat. It's designed by CA Electronics now. They're the ones who build all the simulators, and so all the Boeing and Airbus simulators and everything they build. So the whole system is fully automated, and it's proving to be really quite good.
Been here since January 6th. Well, in Halifax. I don't remember Victoria. I've been away for so long, so it's gonna be good. Be good to get back. So, and plus I'm duty first night in too, so that's a pleasure. Welcome home.
Okay, all stop.
Stop both.
Stop both. Slowest turn port, slowest turn port.
All engines stop, please.
Stop both.
Stop both. Stop both.
Number one, slightly wide. Just go on top of the canal. Go on top. One side,
Yeah, you still got my stern, does he? It's in just slightly on the...
Two center, brake a little. Okay, number two's brake together now. Hold her in the middle. One's hold. That's it.
We're here. Whenever you bring a ship like this close to anything like this, it feels good when you don't touch it. So
Yes.
I had no doubts, though.
Well, if you'll notice on the wall, there are marks on the wall.
That's right. Cement patches.
This is my last day being an East Coaster, because when I get through this canal, I'm a Western. I'll be in the Pacific Ocean. It's going to be my first, so I'm happy.
Yeah.
He's from New Brunswick, I'm from Nova Scotia.
So it'll be the first time through the canal.
Right on.
Right?
East Coasters,
First
going
time.
west.
So going through the locks themselves, it was an interesting process. It's well organized, and it would only took the first couple to feel quite comfortable with the way the pilot was handling the ship. And as we made the transition into dark about halfway through the canal, again, it brought a whole new aspect of driving through an inland lake in the tropics. I heard many of the ship's company saying it looked more like a Disneyland ride than anything else, because the canal walls are all lit by lighting and red and green and whatnot. So it actually looked quite spectacular. So I think that was a good way of doing it and seeing both. But here we are out in the Pacific now. You can tell by the larger period of the swell as the ship moves just a little slower here than we would in the Atlantic, because the swell in the Pacific is known for its long period. So we're here, and I thought today would be a good opportunity to let the sailors jump in the water too. So I think at Secure this afternoon we'll stop the ship and we'll run ourselves a little swim-ex, as we call it in the Navy, and let everybody who wants to jump in and feel the Pacific Ocean.
Go for a swim. Only 120 miles off the coast. Yeah. This is just great. We got all the diehard chickens are even out today. I'm one of them. I'm in charge of the diehard chicken team, and I'm just about to do a 9.5 gainer here.
There's a little boy in every sailor, no matter how old you get. I don't think you'd be in the Navy otherwise. And because the ship's company is so young, they perpetuate that too. People talk young, they think young, they're active, they want to do things. It's impossible to get old in the Navy, I'm sure of that. And the little boy comes out in you all the time.
It's a funny feeling swimming with a couple of miles of salt water under you, and one of the guys standing by with a rifle in case of sharks. At any rate, it's the Pacific, and they're getting closer to home.
The propulsion system in this ship is called a CODOG system, which means combined diesel or gas, meaning we have diesel propulsion or we have gas turbine propulsion. The prime movers for the ship are two LM2500 gas turbines by General Electric of the United States. These engines are nominally rated in this ship at about 25,000 horsepower each, or 17 megawatts. Now, all three of these propulsion engines feed into one very complicated cross-connect gearbox that drives two shaft lines with variable reversing pitch propellers. It's probably the most complicated gearbox of any frigate in the world. We've got three propulsion engines. Any one of those engines can drive both shafts. The ship was designed to be able to do a crashback maneuver, which is going from full ahead to full astern. It's amazing to see a ship traveling in the area in excess of 28 knots, say, commence going full astern in less than a minute. The machinery control system in this ship is a fully digital, state-of-the-art control system. What it does for us is it allows us to operate a plant of this complexity with this amount of equipment with a minimum of operators. Initially, people look at this screen and it's difficult for them to grasp what's on the other side of the screen. They're amazed by the amount of power that they have at their fingertips at the push of a button.
The frigates and most of Canada's warships carry helicopters, and the ship needs a ground crew of about a dozen personnel to keep them maintained and flying.
I like flying the Sea King. I really enjoy it. It reminds me of an old Harley Davidson flying up in the sky, shaking and leaking oil. It does take a lot of maintenance. It is getting old, but it's still fun to fly.
Most people will figure pretty quickly that these guys are nowhere near a golf course. It's week 5, and everyone's starting to get acute bouts of channel fever. That crazy feeling you get when you can just about smell home. The Vancouver Open not only takes their minds off getting there, but also raises money for the Vancouver Children's Hospital at the same time.
Gotta like that.
The next port of call for Vancouver is San Diego.
You know, San Diego, I hold great expectations for San Diego, and that comes from 18 years being in Canadian ships and always feeling just a little bit inferior with our older ships. We're going to roll into San Diego, which was the main American base.
we'll be putting in there as probably the best warship in the harbor. Not the largest, but certainly the best, and I'm looking forward to showing it off, and I know the whole ship's company is. It's a very proud moment for all of us. We've never experienced that before. Ocelot, there's our fire tug there, welcoming us. San Diego for the first time. Stop port. Midships. Okay. For now. Yeah, it's not a problem.
Hold all line. Let's take another turn there if you need it. Let's not get as many people in there as you can. Get everything out of it. Okay.
Welcome to San Diego, pilot.
I love this city.
I'm looking forward to it. Would you care to join me for a refreshing malt beverage ashore this evening?
I think so.
Right on. Let's do it.
How do you do?
Welcome aboard, Admiral.
How are you?
Long time.
I know it is. Great to see you.
Yesterday we were able to tour 15 American naval personnel, some of who control destroyer squadrons that are the same size as the Canadian West Coast Navy. They're looking very forward to Vancouver getting out into operations in the Pacific and working with them. The big one that we did was that last trial where we proved the various levels. The system did it all by itself. It picked it up, locked it on, fired. We thought that was really great as Navy. The people who were really smiling were the contractors, because they were hearing me going, ha ha, because it was the first time that the system had really been proven, and the gun hit the target. Actually, they weren't too pleased that I hit their $500,000 target, but anyways, we had a good run. I think everything that's advertised is actually going to be achieved. And a year ago, nobody in our Navy would have said that. We said, we've got great potential, but we're not sure if we're going to get over it. I think the comfort zone's there now. We actually will achieve everything that the system's supposed to, so that's a good feeling. As one of the functions of the ship in the first few years of her life is going to be very much to allow Canadian industry who has built her and who has designed her and has integrated the systems for the Vancouver to go out and show those systems. While we've been in San Diego, we've really done our first what we'd call marketing tour. In other words, it was a tour that was targeted specifically to sell one of the systems in the ship, to show our communication system, our ShinCom system, which is the internal telephone system. It's really the heart of how we talk to each other in the ship.
Well, let me say it's been a real pleasure to be on board the Vancouver today. We've had the opportunity to tour the ship from stem to stern. It is an impressive ship. Particularly impressive to me is the automation and the computerization of all of the systems, ship systems, not only engineering and those areas, and damage control and firefighting, but as you look towards weapons employment and the capabilities that the computerized systems give you, particularly on this ship and in those very quick reaction situations that Vancouver could be involved in, it is an impressive ship. I look forward to the U.S. Navy working with this ship, particularly in RIMPAC of next year.
Pipe aside.
The ship's crew fared better with the admirals than they did with the U.S. Navy's basketball team.
All right, put it in. Yeah, great air, good basket. Hockey and Victoria next time. Okay? Ice hockey.
We're just now southwest of Victoria. I know the thoughts of the crew now are on what's actually gone on for the last 5 months while they've been away. There's certainly excitement in the ship's company to anticipate the arrival, to see the children, to see the wives, and to show the ship to them, and a whole host of sentiments are going around. I'm looking forward to seeing my wife and my 2 sons, but certainly I'm proud. I couldn't think of anything in any walk of life that would make me prouder of bringing a new ship into Esquimalt. Slowest stern starboard.
Slowest stern starboard. Slowest stern starboard. 4 inches slowest stern wheels, midship, sir. Very good.
The last leg of the journey is across to Vancouver for the ship's commissioning.
Stop port.
To be taking a ship that's so fine, you know, called Vancouver, you know, through the Harrow Strait and Boundary Pass and up Georgia Straits into Vancouver, it's just exciting. I mean, it really feels neat because I know the reception in Vancouver. People are going to be impressed with the ship, you know, and you know, it's going to be our first chance to really make that tie between ship and city. So it's an exciting day. It is, and to have such a fine day to do it on, it's perfect.
This is not the first time a ship called Vancouver has plied these waters. On board with the dignitaries and the media are some very special guests. Former sailors who crewed the first 2 Vancouvers.
Well, at that time, the Navy was in poor shape. There weren't many ships. Our job in those days was nuts and bolts, keep it going. And very little money. We were always short of money. I've seen a time when we had to use canteen funds to buy Brasso to make it look good and paint, that sort of thing. Those days, I hope, are gone.
I served on the 2nd Vancouver. It was a corvette during World War II. And the difference between the 2 ships is just mind-boggling. And I think what impressed me the most is the crew, right from the captain down to the lowest seaman. They all are so proud to be here, and they know their jobs.
I'll tell you, if we'd had so few of these at the start of the war, we'd all been home a lot earlier, I think.
I wonder what Captain Vancouver would have thought if he saw this Vancouver and he saw what has developed from what he discovered. You know, a big, beautiful city and a brand new ship, and yeah, noticed a few changes.
I wish we had some method of showing them our appreciation, you know, something we could do here, a fire, a water cannon, you know, say, yeah, yeah, it's great. But this is a big for the ship to do, man it, people along the ship's sides. So it's a good way to show them.
Vancouver, remove entrance. Cheers for Vancouver, city and frigate. Hip hip, hooray! Hip hip, hooray! Hip hip, hooray!
We started planning for our commissioning almost a year ago and looking at it and just doing the tour this morning and seeing how everything's come together with the big screens and the seats for everybody and the band is ready. Yeah, so it's pretty exciting.
Shoulder! Out! Third! Order! Out!
As I stand here today, I cannot help but feel I am Canada's proudest citizen, and I have some very good reasons for feeling so. Over the past 6 months, the sailors and airmen of my ship's company have worked extremely long and hard. Most of that time has demanded that the ship's company be away from families and friends. But why am I Canada's proudest citizen? Because today, as a sailor, I command one of the world's best designed and thought-out warships for her size. And that allows me and my ship's company to usher in a new era of naval operations on the west coast of Canada and in the Pacific Ocean. Citizens of Vancouver, you can be proud on all accounts of the sailors who will represent you and your city throughout the Pacific. As charged by the Government of Canada, and with great pride and honor, I formally declare Her Majesty's Canadian ship, Vancouver, commissioned.
Parade! General salute! Treason! Arms!
Number 1.
Sir!
Man ship!
Aye, aye, sir! Vancouver! Turning inwards, left and right! Turn! Ship's company will man ship. Quick! March!
Each day in the transit has brought new confidence in the ship. Each sailor has learned his systems more. It's been an exciting 6 months as the ship has come together, as the ship has become operational, as each man gains the confidence to take Vancouver to sea. We look forward to the future where we get a chance to get out and show the ship to the world.